This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and Mousefan Travel, who is an authorized Disney vacation planners specializing in cruises and packages to Disney and other vacation destinations around the world. They provide their signature services with no agency fee, so get a no-obligation quote by going to www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, July 4th, 2007, and this is episode 278 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of MGMstudios.org. On the show today is Len Testa, co-author of the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding.
So I've just added Hanson's MMMBop to my iPod for my running soundtrack.
Why?
Why?
MMMBop. Because they're just so perky. I love those kids.
Whatever gets you going, Len. I mean, we don't want to know, but if that gets you going, hey, more power to you, buddy.
I was running to the Brandenburg Concertos 1 through 5, and I found that about a mile and a half in, I wanted to kill myself. So,
also on the show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
Let's see. The edit button is.
There was a really funny joke that Newell edited out, so you'll never be able to hear it. Also on the show is Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com and All Ears Net. Welcome, Mike.
America, spread your golden wings. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
I hear that show on Mouse World Radio, and it's let's see what else is on Mouse World 2 or 3.
Really?
I'm not a fan of that.
Really?
Yeah,
it's a great show.
Yeah.
Well, then take your business elsewhere.
That's right. I was going to go to Mouse World 2 or 3.
Exactly.
It's Wednesday, and we're answering listener questions. And the first one is from Jana of the Let's Talk About Disney podcast, who writes, hey y'all, I was listening to your show, episode 275, when Steve from Miami asked about the kids at MouseFest events. I wanted to make clear that the eat and drink around the world meet is not a big drunk fest. We actually print out and hand to our attendees a nice little pamphlet featuring a bit of info from each country and gave suggestions as to what snack or drink, alcoholic or not, to try. We had my 2 kids there throughout the entire event, who were ages 1 and 7 at the time. Actually, the group was split up in about half as to who was actually drinking and who was not. We didn't have any person from our group get more tipsy than they should have, out of respect for those who chose not to drink and for the kids themselves. We were a very friendly group, and I don't want to leave my kids out of anything. All of our meets this year, including the DAW event, will continue to be kid-friendly.
DAW. One of us already drinking.
I thought we were talking about just us getting drunk.
Yeah, no, I think when we talked about it, we were talking about what we would do.
Yeah, right. Let's just clarify here. I understand that everyone has the responsible way to party through World Showcase. All I'm saying is the last time I tried it, it ended up in Japan somehow buying dinner for everyone. I have no idea how that happened.
That's why we want to go with you again, Len.
Exactly.
And it started in England, which was in the UK, which was crazy. So anyway.
Jana wrote, just wanted y'all to know, and hopefully you guys will join us next year. Yeehaw!
Hey, Mike.
Next email is from Frank Cohen, who writes, hey guys, I heard the question on episode 257 from the software developer looking for conferences in Orlando. I now maintain a list of software development-related conferences at my website. I'll put a link in the show notes to it. By the way, Walt Disney is at Orlando is excellent. I was wondering why the software developer needs to limit their horizons. For example, there is the 16th IEEE International Workshop on Enabling Technologies, Infrastructures for Collaborative Enterprises conferences to get to Paris Disneyland. Go to Networld plus Interop Tokyo 2007 to Disney Sea Tokyo.
Oh my God! What?
and Furniture China 2007, the 13th China International Furniture Expo to see Hong Kong Disney. So there you go. All those.
Okay. You didn't do a good job of explaining that. So, so these are the conferences you go to in order to get discounts on Disney lodging. Is that it?
To go to other Disney parks around the.
That makes sense then. I thought I was just reading off software developer conferences. I'm like, since when did that become a shill for Microsoft? Sorry. Nah, never mind. I was wrong.
Next email is Al from Minnesota. Writes, hello, gentlemen. I have a question on a trip that a friend and I are going on. My friend and I are going to Walt Disney World in late July or early August. You guys are probably saying, why July or August? Because I'm going to school this year. Will anything be big going on during this time? That would either slow me down or shut things down. Will Walt Disney World close early or open late? I want to go for a week. I know it's going to be hot, but how horribly hot will it be? Most my friend wants to stay at Pop Century for 4 days and Boardwalk Inn for 2 days. Thanks, love the show. Tell Mr. Newell to fight the power on the web radio deal. I love his channels.
Yo, sup, yo.
Late July, early August. Park hours are still going to be pretty good. Usually don't start scaling it back until late August, right?
Yeah.
Well, 17th of August, right on third week, maybe.
Haunted Mansion will be closed by then. Is Spaceship Earth going to be closed by late July, early August?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
What else?
And the heat. How terribly hot is it late July, early August? I think it's about boiling, isn't it?
It's not bad. I mean, if you get out early and you do stuff early, and then if you're out of the parks between 1 and 4 or 1 and 5, and you're doing something indoors or whatever, you're fine. It's when you're in the parks between noon and 5 o'clock that it's the hottest because you've got long lines, you've got a lot of people to deal with. If you can avoid that, you're fine.
Right.
With the extended operating hours, I mean, you can do so much more at night from 6 o'clock on than you could do any other time of the year. So you really should take advantage of the nighttime operating hours in the summer, and that means extra magic hours. Go ahead, Len. Go ahead.
Take advantage of the night. Seize the night. Carpe diem. Get it?
Anyway, next email is from Scopa's girl, Michelle from Nashua, New Hampshire, who writes, "Hi guys, I'm planning to go to Walt Disney World in June of 2003 and have a question. Hope you can answer it in time." Just kidding. Just kidding. We just came back from a 10-day trip.
That was awesome.
Here's my question. My 13-year-old son, Evan, is 5'9" and is still growing. While we were climbing into the rockets on Space Mountain, he noticed that his legs were crunched in the front seat, and I suggested that he go to the second or third seat for the next ride. We started to wonder if there's any difference in legroom in the rockets. We knew if there was an answer to be had, you guys would have it. If not, perhaps Len can get a measuring tape on his next trip and let us know.
You mean the individual rockets?
Yeah, I mean, is there a difference between the first seat in the rocket pod versus the second or third seat in terms of legroom?
Isn't the
Yeah. I don't know. I can have to look if it's that important. I mean, we can just throw the researchers.
There is a difference in some of the boats. I know there's a difference in the boats at Small World and Pirates. You know, the front row and the back row you don't want to be in.
I think I want to say there is a difference. I always felt that the front seat. Oh no, maybe the second and third seats, because when you put your legs down in the second and third seat, your legs go underneath the armrests for the people in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
does that make sense?
That's interesting.
I'm not sure if there is a large difference, but I guess, Len, you're going to have to take Michelle's advice and send Darcy to start measuring. Start measuring it. Could you guys hold for a second while I measure?
Get this in jail, and we're all going to have to bail her out
again.
So Matt, send me the email, and I'll have the researchers take a look at it.
Okay. Where's the undelete button?
Magic Meets.
Oh yeah, she'll be at Magic Meets, so there you go.
Yep.
Okay.
Next email is from Richard, who writes, "Hello. We like to travel to Walt Disney World in the first half of December and have done this several times." This might be a good question for Newell here. If we're looking to purchase DVC points, should our use of the year be December? What determines the use of the year that would be of the most benefit? What determines the use year that would be of the most benefit for DVC?
Yeah, Mike.
I don't actually see a difference in use year. Just goes for calendar year. So I mean, my use year starts October 1st, and that lasts until September 31st. So it really doesn't matter when your use year begins, because you still have a full year to use those points. And if you're going to buy resale, the use year is already predetermined. So it really doesn't matter. The only thing is, if you're adding on points later on, you kind of want to keep the same use year so you can keep track of all your points. So if you have 3 or 4 contracts that are bought on resale, you might have 3 or 4 different months where the use year begins. So it gets a little complicated keeping track of all your points.
Now, for Newell, for those of us that aren't familiar with DVC, could you briefly explain what use year is?
A use year is 365 days that you can use your points.
Okay, so if I bought DVC today, my use year would be July 4th.
If you buy through Disney, probably after the closing. So you probably, let's say technically probably July 31st after closing. So maybe August 1st would be your use year. If, like I said, if you buy resale, that use year is already predetermined in that contract. So you're going to get a different use. You may get June 1st, you may get September 1st, you may get January 1st. Depends on what that contract first was stated at.
Next email is from Steve from New York, and Steve's got some points of contention against the advantages of renting a car. And I'd be interested to know what you guys think, specifically Scopa. He's got a couple of points here. I'm going to go point by point, and I thought maybe you could tell me what you think, Scopa or Len. Yep. Both of you are big fans of it. Right, so hi guys. First, let me say that I enjoy your podcast a lot. In your most recent one, you were discussing the merits or lack thereof of Disney's Magical Express with Mary Waring and Soupy Zatoro. Generally, everyone seemed to be down on it. There were, however, several items discussed that I would like to take exception to. So here's his first point. While I agree that programs like Emerald Isle are extremely convenient, let's not lose sight of the fact that you don't simply stroll off the plane and onto a car. For the average vacationing family, there's a stop and a lengthy wait at baggage claim. DME customers head directly to the DME counter, bypassing baggage claim.
Yeah, but there's a wait there, too. It's not like you get on the bus.
That's true.
And depending on the wait, I mean, I've seen waits of up to 30 minutes there. I mean, it might be a small incremental wait from the baggage, but, I mean, if you're getting off the plane and going to the bathroom, a lot of that incremental wait is vanished anyway.
Let me add to what Len just said. The other thing, and this is very important, is that if you're doing Magical Express, you're depending upon other people, whereas if you're on your own and just dealing with yourself, you only have to worry about yourself or your traveling party. So you don't have to worry about other people who may slow you down.
All right. Steve's next point is, Mary's site has saved me a ton of money over the years, and for that, I'm thankful. However, it seemed that she was dismissing DME based on a single experience where it took her 90 minutes to reach a resort. I've had similar bad experiences with renting cars, even with National's Emerald Isle, but I would never have considered a single exception to be indicative of overall services. I think the saying goes something like, once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action. That's a good point. You certainly don't want to judge it by one thing.
Yeah, not one, but still, I mean, I think we've surveyed it enough. I mean, we've actually done stuff at the airport where we'll have someone watching the buses leave, and then we'll have other people at the Disney resorts, and we'll communicate via cell phones to get the transportation times. So,
Steve has one other interesting point. A rental car for a week will typically run $150 to $200, including taxes, fuel, etc. DME costs nothing. While my vacation time is also important to me, an extra 15 to 30 minutes to save $150 is not a bad deal.
Yeah, but see, that's not it though, because if you're going to and from the parks a lot, then you're saving incremental time there where you don't have to be on Disney transportation, and that adds up. I mean, even if it's 10 minutes each way on the trip over and you're doing it twice a day, that's 40 minutes a day times however many days are in your vacation. Plus, I mean, if you want to go off property to get something to eat, if you want to go to downtown Disney, I mean, it's just invariably it's easier to get in a car and go.
It just gives you more flexibility, and you really can't put a value on that.
Okay. We thank Steve for his excellent points, though. Next email is from Larry and Mary from Elkton, who writes, Matt and Mike. I saw on CNN today the decision of the copyright judges to deny the Internet Radio Broadcasters' appeals, and it got me thinking. Perhaps Walt Disney World Today should do a podcast all about it and the impact on Disney broadcasting stations like Mouse World Radio. Perhaps he might even invite Lou. No, I'm not pushing for Lou because he's Lou, but rather because he's an attorney, to comment about the ruling, the processes, etc., as well as to have a chance for Mike and Lou to both educate the listeners about what they can do. Additionally, you folks, since you have many contacts in many of various Disney boards, podcast stations, etc., can help push most of the Disney community to do the same thing, ideally at around the same time to help publicize it. After all, the Disney community has at times helped push Disney into rethinking certain decisions. Why can't we all band together to help do the same thing with the legislatures or other regulators? Just something that I thought about today when I read the decision and thought I'd suggest it to both of you. For what it's worth, I'm a Live 365 subscriber, and I did subscribe specifically because of Mouse World Radio. I miss the additional stations that Mike had suspended. I completely understand your decision to do so. Just what a shame you had to do that, Mike. Give it some thought, and please keep up the good work.
Thanks, Larry. I appreciate all that. Unfortunately, I think it's a little bit too late at this point. They made the decision. They're going to announce it on the 15th of July, which is in 2 weeks. And I really, at this point, I don't see anything. There's no Superman to come through and help us out at this point. So I think they're going to make their decision on the 15th, and you're going to see a lot of these stations disappear, and maybe me too.
So how much is it per
They're gonna backdate to January 1st, 2006. They're gonna hit every stream, not every group, but every stream, $500 off the bat. So I had 11 streams running.
$5,500?
You may not see me for a while. I may be disappearing for a little bit. No, it's gonna hurt a lot of people at this point. And Congress wants no part of it. They decided that they're not going to get involved, and it's all about greed. And then what's going to happen is pirating and theft is going to get way out of hand, and then they're going to wonder why.
You're absolutely right, Mike. It's absolutely deplorable. And if you haven't already contacted, you should contact your local congressman or woman and senator, and just you have to voice your displeasure with it, because it is quite ridiculous. And it's exactly what Newell said. It's all greed by the recording industry of America. Not as bad as those comic book writers, though, but just a little bit above it. Next email is from James, who writes, "Hi guys, I have a question about the child swap. I'm going to the parks this summer with my wife, 8-year-old daughter, and our 12-month-old. With the child swap, is it normal for my wife to ride with our 8-year-old and I hold the baby? And then when they get back, I would be able to ride with my daughter as well, or am I going to have to single rider it?" Generally, what's happened is you go to the cast member who's working the load over there in the front with the main entrance, not the load, I should say. The cast member's running the front entrance to the ride, to the standby line, or the fast pass line, and you say, we want to do a rider swap. Usually, you got to present the body. Here's the kid, and and they give you a rider switch pass, which is a glorified fast pass. And what it allows you to do is people, Group A without the child goes and rides, and then when they're finished, you hand off the baby to someone else, and you use your rider switch pass to go into the fast pass line over there, bypass the entire line, really, and ride it. And the rider switch allows you for, I believe, up to 4 people with the one person. So you can have about 5 people riding there. So that's how it usually works. Next email is from Kyle. Probably by the time you read this, the late Kyle. Who writes, "Oh, good, you answered my last question before I died. Anyway, my vegetarian cousin is asking which restaurants in Walt Disney World to avoid. She won't listen to me because I'm not Len, Matt, or that old guy. Anyway, she listens to the show so that you guys can advise her on what restaurants she should absolutely avoid before she ends up calling me in from Tears from Ohana's, or before she dies, for that matter. Better hurry, you only got 50 years or so. You might want to put this in your immediate attention classification of email. That way it can be read sometime before December of 2008.
Wow, that was awesome. Probably want to avoid Ohana, the Yachtsman Steakhouse.
If it's got meat in the name,
exactly.
You generally want to avoid it. What's a restaurant, Len? Do you know Darcy, your one of your researchers for the Unofficial Guide, who's a vegetarian herself? Do you know what her favorite restaurants are?
Every restaurant we've ever been to together, they've always been able to make whatever dish she ordered vegetarian. So at Brown Derby, for example, there was like some sort of
vegetarian steak
salad.
No. She did like it was like a shrimp
salad.
No, shrimp with over like linguine or fettuccine or something, and they made it without the shrimp for her. Everywhere, Mexico, they do vegetarian stuff there. Everywhere we've been, literally France, everywhere. All you have to do is ask, and if you have an ADR, just notify the chef ahead of time, like a day or so ahead of time, that you've got a vegetarian, and I'm sure that they will work through it. I mean, obviously, not going to go to Le Cellier. You're not going to. You probably could. Le Cellier. You don't want to go to Yachtsman Steakhouse and ask for vegetarian stuff because they're going to know what else they're going to do. But you could easily go to like Italy or China or
blasphemy,
Morocco or you probably don't know what you do in the UK. But
I don't think Morocco would be a good option. There's a lot of steak and lamb and chicken over there.
Okay.
Steak.
I think a lot of I have beef. That's what I meant. Not so much steak. Like a kebabs, things of that nature. Yeah. Although the great thing about Morocco at the counter service is you can get I believe
that's right. You rice and all the other stuff. Yeah.
So you can get a great option over there. But again, like Len said, asking, Disney's very they're always looking to go out of their way to make your experience better. So certainly nothing wrong with asking. Next email is from Keith, who complains to us that you brought up high-speed internet access at Walt Disney World. I was at the Grand Floridian in July of last year, and the high-speed internet and the access in the rooms was a joke at the time. It was slower than dial-up. I haven't really found that slow of a connection, really. I
haven't either.
I found it to be adequate. I mean,
it was
okay,
decent.
yeah.
A little pricey,
I haven't tried playing, yeah. I mean, I haven't tried playing like video games on there online, but certainly I've been able to access my email. And
You're hitting like 40K per second download and stuff like that, right? It's not. You're not doing like 1 meg per second, nothing like that. I mean, it's close enough for a hotel. It's good enough.
Yeah. Next email is from Jess Johnson of Lowell, Massachusetts. Writes, "Hey guys, I love your podcast and look forward to every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to hear your witty and insightful comments and tips. I have a question about the attractions that I hope one of you can answer. My boyfriend and I were wondering if any of you know which attractions needed the most cast members to run it. I know the obvious answer would be any of the stage shows because they have so many actors behind the scenes people, but I was wondering about the ride specifically. Thanks for your help and keep up the awesome work on your outstanding podcast."
It'd take a lot of people to run. Okay, so how many people does a Great Movie Ride take? 2, right?
Well, yeah, it's going to take, I think total. The Great Movie Ride's got a lot of cast members. You got to have, you know what I mean?
You have loaders and unloader.
Yeah, Jungle Cruise comes to mind. Any attraction where you've got cast members in the ride vehicle?
Yeah. So I was thinking Kilimanjaro Safari.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've already got one per ride vehicle, right? So you want think of a ride where you've got somebody in the ride with you, and it's a small boat or a small ride vehicle.
I've got one.
Go ahead.
Fantasmic.
That's a show. She said
It's
other
attractions.
shows. Yeah,
other than show.
Yeah, no, not attraction, not shows.
Great.
Rides.
A lot of people too. It's just,
I think it might. This sounds like a question for a certain very short trivia guy from Northwest New Jersey.
You know what's going to happen? We're going to see him in a week and a half, and he's going to bop you right in the head.
Well, he'd probably get my knees because that's about as high he goes up to.
Oh my god.
Next email is from Frank, who writes, "Hello everyone, just found the show and love it. I've been planning a trip to the world in September, and I'm looking for a recommendation on a moderate resort. I stayed at Port Orleans Riverside last year, and it was all right. What other moderate resorts would you recommend?"
Caribbean Beach.
Yeah, and that's because, Len, tell everyone why you like Caribbean Beach so much.
Air conditioners.
I like the air conditioners. Have I really become that predictable?
Oh yeah.
I really like the air conditioner. No, you know what? I like the ambiance.
He's the AC man.
Exactly.
The theming, Len, air conditioner aside, the theming at Caribbean Beach is really top notch. I give it that. The only problem I had is that it's huge. I remember Newell was trying to come pick me up at for Mouse Fest last year, and it was like, if you take a wrong turn,
well, that's what happened. I went the wrong. I should have made a right, and I made a left, and I wound up going all the way around.
I stayed at Port Orleans Riverside. The only other one I would recommend is trying Port Orleans French Quarter. It's a lot different than Riverside. It's smaller.
Oh yeah.
It's still food courts.
Yeah, it's true. The food options you're kind of really. That's another advantage of Caribbean Beach. So yeah, you can give Caribbean Beach a shot. I tried it out. Can't really complain about it. Next email is from James from Philadelphia, who writes, "I was wondering if you guys could give." Here's another question about moderate resorts. I get your group's opinion on the moderate resorts. Which one do you think is the best? How do you rank them all? Does anyone have any personal experiences with any of them? Also wanted to thank you guys for all your hard work. Your sites, your articles, the Lens book, and of course the podcast are all very enjoyable, very informative. Keep up the great work."
Awesome.
It's always something I think, Scopa, you always mention. It's hard to say, well, what's the best? Best what in terms of what? You got to gauge it by somehow, right?
You got to gauge it by which park is your favorite. Where do you like to be? Which park do you visit more often? What kind of theming do you like? Do you prefer certain food? Well, you're not going to have. Well, I guess you do have a sit-down restaurant now at all of them now. I think all the moderates have sit-down. Maybe not Port Orleans French Quarter, but Riverside does. It's really hard. It comes down to theming. It comes down to what you like. I've stated all of them. My favorite is probably. It used to be the Caribbean, but now it's probably Port Orleans French Quarter, and then the Caribbean's second, and Coronado Springs is third because I don't like the idea of staying at a resort that has a convention center. I just don't want to see business people when I go on vacation. So those are my choices. Len, on to you.
Are they particularly offensive with the?
Yeah, I just don't want to see suits when I'm down there.
Exactly. That's what I say. Okay. If some nice khakis would have been fine, but
Cool lots. Yeah.
Exactly. So I like. I would actually rate the two Port Orleans resorts last. I like Coronado Springs, even with the low flow shower heads. Jeez, that still bothers me though. I wonder if you could bring a wrench in your own shower head and.
That'll be the new chapter in the Fish Guide. How did jerry rig your room?
You need to meet that guy that they had in Seinfeld, when Kramer needed to change the shower head. You need one of those guys.
That's funny.
Meet him in the parking lot. Hey, I got the Shower Master 3000 for you.
That's right. Yeah. I like. I mean, the thing I don't like about the Port Orleans resorts again is the food. So I know they've upgraded their the kitchens and stuff, but still, I don't think it's as good as my daughter really liked Pepper Market over at Coronado Springs, and I'm sure she would like the Caribbean Beach as well. So,
next question is from Desiree from Texas, who writes, "What do you all think is going to happen to the suite in the Cinderella Castle when the Year of a Million Dreams is over?"
Ooh, good question.
I suspect it'll be used for like VIPs.
Yeah. I mean, they'll still do promotions on it and stuff like that, but it won't.
It's just like the presidential suite at like some of the other at the deluxe resorts line. You have to ask for it.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to rent it out because as soon as they did, the line would be 2 years long.
What about like
they'll keep it in reserve?
Yeah, I think they're just like to your point, they're going to give it to VIPs and stuff like that. People who ask.
That'd be a great honeymoon suite.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to afford it.
I think
not us, but
I think they'll find a way to generate revenue, maybe
good
selling it to television shows or to groups that can award it as a prize. But in order for them to do that, they'll probably have to pay a pretty penny for it.
Time for one last email. It comes from Cheryl from Westfield, Massachusetts, who writes, "Hello, gentlemen. My husband and I are thinking about a trip to Walt Disney World this year, and I was wondering which on-property hotel you thought had the nicest bar. By nice bar, we mean a nice, quiet place to stop on the way back to the room at the end of the day, have a couple of cocktails, rest our feet, maybe just a bite to eat, and a chance to catch a late game or highlights from the day, and just decompress a little before heading up to the room to go to sleep. Thanks for answering my question and for all the great information on the podcast." You know what comes to mind for this answer is the Bellevue Bar at the Boardwalk Resort. It's small, quiet. I think they have food service over there.
Yeah, I know exactly the bar you're thinking of, though. Isn't it the one that's if you're walking towards the rooms, it's on the left?
Yes. Yeah, on the main level over there, on the same level as the lobby.
So typically what I'll do is I'll actually go get pizza from the Boardwalk and go up there during the day and sit.
That's great.
Yeah, because there's no...
and there's indoor and outdoor seating, so if it's nice out, you can go outside. If not, it's outside.
Exactly. It's very nice.
Any others, Len, since you're the resident boozer? Booze hound, if you will.
3 beers a year or whatever. But, I would say the Animal Kingdom Lodge, but their list of food items is relatively small. I think they've only got 3 or 4 things, the best of which is the bread sampler.
It was nice, though. We had a good time over there at the... I think it's Victoria Falls. Is that the place?
Victoria Falls, right. Yeah, that was fun. What do you think? Yacht Club? No, Yacht Club is really... The last time I was there, Bob actually had to write down the price of the wine because, from what I understand, most bars will typically mark up their wine cost by a factor of 2. And at Disney, they were doing it times 3. So if the bottle of wine was $18, and if you can go to Kroger or whatever and buy the bottle of wine for $18, Disney was charging $54 for the same bottle of wine.
Wow.
So I can't really recommend Yacht Club. Boardwalk's not bad. Have you ever actually eaten anything there though?
No, I don't think I had any food.
See, I mean, for me, I would have to drink and eat. It can't be just the one. What else?
What about the one near Ohana's? It's got the nice big screen television, but it's kind of loud there.
Yeah, Polly's second floor is going to be kind of loud. Especially if you're real close to Ohana, right?
Yeah, you're right there.
That's not going to work out well. What's the Grand Floridian got for a bar?
What the heck is it?
I don't even know if I'm trying to think of one. I don't recall of a bar over there in that resort.
I don't think there is one.
I think the best two that I've run into is the ones at Animal Kingdom Lodge at Victoria Falls and the Bellevue Room, or Bellevue Bar.
We'll have to cover this more. This is good. We'll have to do this next time.
I volunteer for that assignment, Len.
Exactly.
Sign me up. Me and Newell. We'll take it.
Funny.
Well, this episode of Walt Disney World Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mousefan Travel. MEI and Mousefan Travel are authorized Disney vacation planners specializing in cruises and packages to Disney and other vacation destinations around the world. They provide their signature services with no agency fees, and you get to talk to Annette. Hey. So get a new obligation quote by going to www.mousefantravel.com. That probably got edited out. That's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Stapler, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
The day of silence has passed. However, time is really ticking now. Lots of days of silence are coming. Unless you make the call today. On July 15th, it's all over. Internet radio will be gone forever. Nobody's going to like what comes next. High subscription fees, very limited choice, and the rich get richer. The word from the big record companies in their most recent press release, if you want to hear music, now you'll have to pay for it. Just watch it happen. Unless you take 5 minutes to contact everyone in Washington that represents you, both of your senators and your representative. Surf to SaveNetRadio.org to save Internet Radio. SaveNetRadio.org. SaveNetRadio.org.